came to Agnes and I visited, and I went to a political science class, and it was like 12 people or so, and every single student was talking. Everyone had their books on the table. People were making connections to these other classes that they had taken. The professor was like tying in that information to, he was like using all of the comments of the students, and that's what got me excited. I was like, this is what I want. And I remember leaving the classroom and just being like looking forward to being here so much.
I heard about Agnes from my high school teachers and my mentors, and so they told me that Agnes was private, that it was a women's college, and that it was a liberal arts college. And I had no clue what any of that meant.
I definitely wanted to go somewhere where I would have a personal relationship with the professors, and I wouldn't be in like the giant lecture halls.
I didn't quite expect the rigorousness of my first year, but it really challenged me, which I appreciate.
What I expected was an education that I could never get in Vietnam.
What I didn't anticipate was how easy it would be for me to choose my one major field, which is art, and how intersectionally I could bring in all of my other interests.
So, let's take a look at what's in store for you at Agnes Scott.
At Agnes Scott, you will take many exciting courses. During your time here, you will fulfill certain required standards that are part of the college's general education curriculum. These standards fall into 3 categories: specific standards, distributional standards, and a social and cultural analysis standard.
First are the specific standards. These focus on critical thinking and writing skills and include 2 courses that are typically completed during your first year here. These are the first year seminar and English 110, the craft of writing. Also, as part of the specific standards, you will complete 1 PE and attain an intermediate level in a foreign language.
Now let's take a look at the distributional standards. The courses in this category will help you understand how different modes of inquiry can expand your awareness of the world. For your distributional standards, you will complete 5 courses: a fine art or literature course, a humanistic studies course, a math course, a natural science course, and a social science course.
And last but not least is your social and cultural analysis standard. This standard focuses on issues of dominant and marginalized cultures and affirms our commitment to diversity and justice. In fulfilling this requirement, you will have the opportunity to choose from courses in Africana Studies, Anthropology, Education, English, Political Science, and Women's Studies, to name only a few of your options.
Didn't get all that? Don't worry. You'll be assigned an academic advisor that will guide you through course selection. Down the line, once you have a major in mind, you'll select an advisor in your department. But right now, the possibilities are endless.
Through the requirements that we have to take, I was able to really find a passion in education, which is now one of my minors, and I've taken quite a few public health as well as Africana Studies courses.
I took a history course with Dr. Catherine Kennedy, which was Europe and the World Wars, and immediately fell in love, with studying German history and German 20th century history, primarily World War II.
The class that changed me and influenced my career at Agnes Scott the most was my first year seminar. It is called The Freedom of the Press, and I took it with Dr. Cochran. After that point, I never took any class with Dr. Cochran anymore, but whenever I had any problem relating to my career, I would talk to him, and I value him as one of my most respected advisors at Agnes Scott.
I have had amazing professors and advisors who have introduced me to things that are slightly off the beaten path.
I was given the opportunity to study abroad on a global awareness trip to Chile, and while there we studied human rights and globalization. And when I came to America, I applied what I learned there, and then I compared it to what is here versus, since I'm Pakistani, what's going on in Pakistan. Since I'm also Muslim, what's going on in more Muslim majority countries.
I've always been really involved with civic engagement and immigrant rights in my community. And so coming to Agnes Scott, I really figured out how to create that link between my activism and my studio art major.
I'm involved in collage. I've been a member since my first year, and I've now served as vice president and current president. We consist of a committee that serves as a jury for art papers and student work from across Atlanta in art and art history. And we create a forum for these students to come and present their art history research and showcase their studio work.
So probably my biggest accomplishment during my time at Agnes has been my work at the Bremen Museum, which is a Jewish Heritage and Holocaust museum right here in Atlanta. I started out as an education intern last summer. Then this past semester, I was taken on as a research intern working on my own project that I am coordinating myself, which is the first smartphone application for the Bremen Museum. It is a historic Jewish Atlanta driving tour. The project extended through the summer, and they took me on as a full-time employee coordinating this project, and I was given award money through Agnes to do research for my senior seminar.
I did a 6-month stay in Botswana, Africa, where I got to travel to 4 African countries. The take on education and the value of it in a different country versus the States versus Agnes Scott specifically was absolutely amazing to see, and to be able to see the differences and experience them both was absolutely phenomenal.
I got the internship with the DeKalb Workforce Development, and it leads to another one at a startup company in Philadelphia. And eventually I got a very big internship with the Harvard Kennedy School in Vietnam. Given the very dynamic environments that I was working at Fulbright School last year, most of the scholars there come from different fields. In order to communicate with them, I have to know a little bit about everything. And thanks for liberal arts education at Agnes Scott, I was able to relate to every single one of them.
This past semester, I collaborated with the Amnesty International chapter at Georgia State University. And so we put together this exhibit where we had about 12 artists and over 30 pieces that all reflected the experience of undocumented immigrants in this country.
In the spring, I took an education class, and it was about radical pedagogies and educating for social justice. Our final project was to create a democratic dialogue. So we chose to have a dialogue about consent. And it was amazing because we had talked about, in theory, consent in our class, and we had talked about radical pedagogies and different types of education. And then here we were actually doing it.
Agnes Scott really helped bring out my passion for education. Once I get my degree from Agnes, I want to go on and get a master's in education simply because I love education, and it's really fueled my passion for the educational system.
So I'm a bio major, and organic chemistry is required, and so I took my first semester with Dr. Fonts, who is awesome, really easy to understand, and I liked it so much I went on to take another semester and realized that that's something that I would be interested in pursuing after I graduate.
What I'm hoping to do is to go to med school and to become a pediatrician. And what I ultimately want to do is to open a clinic, a free clinic for women and children.
Long term, I want to go into higher education administration and work in student affairs or in housing. I really want to go out and I want to help other college students when they come to college, help them have a really great, well-rounded experience.
Last year I took a class in German cultural studies, and it is totally unrelated to my major in economics or minor in history, but it eventually helps me to get a grant from the German government to work with the Vietnamese immigrants there. And I hope to interview them and learn how they integrate into the system.
Agnes Scott, and just kind of being in Atlanta, has like shaken me up and like twisted me all kinds of different ways.
I think the way that I grew most at Agnes was I really became a leader. When I came to Agnes, I was really quiet and shy and pretty introverted. Through my experiences in my classes and in res life and in my clubs, I've really managed and learned how to step up to the plate and be a leader and a support for my fellow students.
Agnes has kind of given me a lot of experiences and a lot of tools for exploring other viewpoints and being much more open to different ways of going about things and different opinions.
I thought that this was the way that every college was, that every college sort of like opens things up the way that, the way that Agnes Scott did, but talking to people who go to other schools haven't experienced nearly what I've experienced here.
So now you know what Agnes Scott is all about. Excited for your first year? We are.
The feisty Scotties you met in this video are not unusual at Agnes. They're impressive, and so are you.
With the liberal arts education you will receive here, you really will become a leader who will think deeply, live honorably, and engage the intellectual and social challenges of your times.
The squirrels at Agnes, they're insane. Like, they're crazy.
They're everywhere.
I was watching one and it was eating and it was like, one of its ears was like, and it was like twitching.
I think the squirrels at Agnes Scott should pay tuition.
And not like any other squirrels I've seen before. Like, jump from trees. They're crazy.
You cannot outrun a squirrel, I swear. Like, walking to Evans, it's like they meet you on the stairs, like, what's for lunch? Like, are you kidding me?
You'll find out. You'll find out.
You get used to it. Welcome to Agnes Scott.